awareness for the LGBT community. But not only that is just for that community, but a sense of understanding a world of oneness and how we've all come together. And over the years, City of Light has had wonderful opportunities of offering a balloon release. How many of you remember some of the balloon releases from years gone by? Now, as culture has changed and evolved, and we realize maybe it's not the best thing, politically correct, to release balloons into the atmosphere for fear that they may bring harm to nature, to birds, or whatever it may be. We've eliminated the balloon releasing and have begun a tradition of building a rainbow bridge of love. But that wonderful, powerful moment when we stood outside the sanctuary, each person holding a balloon, and at the count of 3, after a prayer of blessing upon those balloons, we released them and let them go as a collective of rainbow flew into the sky. And how beautiful as the winds began to carry them all across the city of Atlanta and well beyond. Attached to each one of those balloons was always a message. A little message that says, "You are loved." How important it is, that's what we wanted to share with the world more than anything else. It wasn't just all about LGBT people, but it was about everyone being included in this great spirit of love, and that's the message that we were founding our mission and our whole outreach on, was a message that we wanted people to know that they were loved. Well, down through the years, numerous stories of phone calls coming and saying, "I received one of your balloons." One day, it was like several days past that Sunday, I received a phone call from a family in the Carolinas. That's right, the Carolinas. They had gathered together to honor their father's passing. The family was there in a family luncheon, and they were all recounting the days of Dad, his love, his wonderful presence in their life, the wonderful love and light that he had brought to them. They were reflecting on lots of wonderful memories. And as they stepped out onto the porch, they looked out, and suddenly a little cluster of rainbow balloons began to float down and land by their fence. And they ran out to the fence, and here was this wonderful message of "You are loved." Now, the interesting thing was, their dad's favorite thing was balloons. And they had said, "Oh, if we could only have a moment with Dad once again." And suddenly the balloons that we'd released drifted down with a message: "Yes, you're loved." Now, angels may have gathered those balloons, some people think. Some people, the winds of God had drifted them to that specific place for that moment. We don't know, but the message that we've distributed down through the years has been, "You are loved." And how powerful that is, that we understand the power of experiencing love to its fullest. Not only of sharing it and of giving it, but receiving it as well, and how powerful that has been for us down through the years. So today, we're all about love, building this wonderful bridge that unites us. Unites us in a world of diversity. Those who are donut lovers and those who are assistant nurses, those who are celebrating National Dog Day, or those who are celebrating Native American Day, or those who are celebrating Father's Day, or Juneteenth Day, or Stonewall, or whatever day it may be. It's your day today. It's your day. And we celebrate this in this power of understanding. Love is what unites us in this world today. Calling and our purpose is to share that. Now, down through the years, I've had some opportunity to see some great bridges. You know, I've traveled around the world, so I've had these opportunities to see some wonderful architectural sites. I've been to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and maybe many of you have been there as well, to see this beautiful bridge spanning across the waters. I've had the opportunity to see this incredible arched bridge in Sydney, Australia. It is a true landmark, and one that you can go to the top and have a beautiful view of Sydney, Australia. I've had the opportunity to travel on the 7-mile bridge from the Florida coast all the way out to Key West. What an amazing bridge that is, and it goes on, it seems like forever. And a simple bridge that builds and connects the islands to the Florida coast. But let me tell you this, the best bridge I've ever experienced, the best bridge I've ever had in my entire life to encounter, was a bridge that began within my life as a young man. It was a simple bridge, a bridge of love. Years ago, I had the opportunity of living in Bombay with a Hindu family. The Hindu family welcomed me in, and I was a complete stranger to them. I had my own unique style, and I was very different than them because I was left-handed. And in their culture, left-handed is the dirty hand. It is the hand used when you are cleaning yourself, and it is considered a hand that you wouldn't touch food with in many ways. Now, in our Western culture, we think of left-handed totally differently, but as I sat down at their table for dinner, I began to use my left hand as we reached in for all the wonderful chapatis and began with our fingers and dishing all the delicious Indian food, and everyone stopped and gasped for a moment, and my host whispered to me, "Do you have toilet paper?" And I said, "Yes." And toilet paper, toilet paper, toilet paper. Everybody heard toilet paper. Okay. And they began to pick up and eating. And you see, culturally, my host said from here on out, as you will join us in an Indian feast, never use your left hand. It's considered not kosher. It's different for us here. You are different. You live different, and we live different. I moved on to Kenya, Africa, and having the wonderful opportunities to be there in the villages. And those villagers had gotten word that Europeans like coffee. What's coffee? We're tea drinkers. Kenya's known for its delicious tea, but coffee, we got to figure out how to make coffee. And a man left the village center, walked down the mountains through the jungle pathway, took a bus into the city and to inquire, what is coffee? How do I make coffee for this guest that we have in our village? He came back days later to present to me a cup of coffee. Wow. He said, "We don't drink this, but we heard you do, and we wanted to give you this gift." I was so amazed and so impressed. As I moved on to Tanzania, having the opportunity of living with the Tanzanian people and traveling from village to village, I would arrive at a village to find that they had prepared a special hut for me. They had worked well in advance to build a hut out of elephant dung. That's right, don't arrive too early until that elephant dung has dried, because it's not always the best place to move in, but it's built in a wonderful way that when the dung dries, it's like plaster, and it is a beautiful hut, and it's a great sanctuary and a place that keeps you from the heat, and a wonderful place to sleep and rest in, and they had built a special place just for me. You're different, and we wanted to do something for you, honoring you. I see in each one of these experiences, as I think about how culturally different our world is. Many times as a pastor preaching, the night would fall in East Africa because at 7 o'clock the sun would go down, and if the pastor was long-winded, okay, so sometimes I was long-winded, and yes, it would go to the place where it was sundown. And it was so dark you couldn't see, and I was not attuned to that, and they were so accustomed to knowing the pathway. In love, they said, "We know you're different." And so we grab onto my shirt, hold onto this, and I will lead you and help you get through as we go back to the village from this teaching site. I think about all these experiences and how they really taught me something wonderful within my life. For each experience connected me to others. And they took me to this wonderful place, a place of understanding that although we are different, although people may live and think differently, we truly are all at one. We really are all one. You see, it was the world loving me. I was the different one. They were not different. I was the different one, the outsider in that environment. They built a bridge of love. They did many of these things and acts out of kindness to help me understand that how we might be united in a sense of oneness together. It was an amazing place to be at this bridge of love in each one of these experiences. For every one of them helped me to understand, wow, we are so unique in this world. There's so much individuality. There's so much uniqueness. Yet in the basic core of everything, there is a solid uniting factor that we are all sparks of the divine. We are all created in the image and likeness of God. When it comes down to it, we are all souls. And we may be here presented in this life form from a different culture, life form from a different color or race, from a different gender, from a different orientation. But all in all, when it comes down to it, we are the spark of the divine. We're the energy of that presence of goodness, of God, of love within it. and we are all really one. Because when we travel this wonderful bridge of inclusion, we leave behind something that's really damaging to our lives. We leave behind isolation. We leave behind separation. And we actually leave behind some of our individuality. You know, individuality is wonderful to acknowledge. It's a great component into our world, but in its excess, it can be a point where it says, I am so individual. I'm so different than you. I want to separate myself from you because you don't understand how unique I am. It's wonderful to see the uniqueness and diversity of God's creations. But it's beautiful to see how it all fits together. For like puzzles of a grand puzzle, pieces that are unique and each one shaped differently, we all fit together into the oneness, and how important it is that we understand that. And that's where we begin to let go of our separateness. We let go of our isolation. We let go of our individuality. And we come together in understanding that in God, we are all one and loved of God. Now, that may be difficult in a world today, for people want to divide and separate, label, and say you're not as good as, or you're not as welcome as, or somehow God's design and goodness is that I can't fellowship with you or can't be part of you because you don't think as I do or don't act as I do, or you're not the kind of person that would be, just like me. We have a beautiful story that was unfolded thousands of years ago. Isn't it wonderful that we find messages from thousands of years ago that are apropos still for us today? Because they're true. We travel back to the New Testament, to the book of Acts, and we find the story of Peter. Peter, the disciple, he is hungry and he's going to the rooftop waiting for lunch. Someone get me lunch, kind of attitude. And while I'm waiting for lunch, I'll take a little nap. And so he's on the rooftop and he reclines and begins to drift off. And he has a dream. And in his dream, his strangest of dreams, but you know how an appetite can be when you're thinking about food. Suddenly this dream, a blanket descends from heaven. And in that blanket, held up on all four corners, within the blanket are all these animals of food, things he might partake. Oh, no. None of them are kosher. I don't eat of any of these things. And in Peter's dream, he's battling with this thought, I can't eat of any of this. No. And the blanket goes up and it descends once again with a voice that says, do not call anything that I've made clean unclean. This happens 3 times and Peter awakens to the understanding. What have I been calling unclean? What have I been saying? You're not like me. You're not like me. What happens then is he begins to wake up. There's a knock on the door, and it happens to be a Gentile man, a Roman centurion who has been praying and speaking to God from his Gentile way, not a Jewish way, but from a Gentile perspective for God. As we see in the scriptures, here's all prayers, and here's all our hearts, no matter what culture we may come from, no matter what perspective we may be in. He knocks on the door, and Peter goes down and finds, a Gentile's at my door. And he says, you are invited to come to the Roman centurion's home and to teach and to preach and tell us more about the goodness of God. And he says, do you realize I'm a Jew and we don't associate with Gentiles? We don't mix in this way. This is not it. But he realized that the Spirit of God was speaking to him. Don't call anyone, any human, any being, anyone, as less than or separate from you, because God has made all as one. What a beautiful lesson it is, and sometimes we forget how powerful it is as this truth has been taught to us. It's really this wonderful understanding that what we're doing is we're surrendering our self-centered interests, our one-way thinking. You know how it is? We may have grown up in a particular culture that's got a one-way process of thinking. This is the only way you do church. I grew up with it, the only way. You don't deviate, you don't do it. We only do things this way because that's the way I grew up with it. We only do such and such this way, Oh, my Lord, I've been in potato salad wars. That's right, potato salad wars. We only make potato salad in the South with pickles pickles and mustard and this and that. That's Southern potato salad. You people who bring this dill potato salad, it's not potato salad. That's not really it. We can't be eating that. What are you talking about? There's only one way to make potato salad. Amen. All the Southerners say hello, yes. Well, you can relate to one-way thinking in our lives and how often we get stuck in this. And so when we understand the power of love, what it is doing is saying, I'm surrendering my self-centered, self-focused interests. I'm letting go of my one-way thinking to partner in favor of someone else. It's letting go of it's all about me and my ways, and it's opening our heart, as we sang earlier. I'm opening up to the good. I'm opening my life up, and that's how we build this bridge of love, that we open our life up to something different. We begin to experience and try and open our hearts to a thinking that there may be another way of doing church, or another way of doing potato salad, or another way of how living in this world, or there may be another way of interacting, or there may be people who think differently, like left-handed people stuck in India, or people who like coffee in Tanzania, or Kenya, a world of tea drinkers, or people who sleep in a mud hut and need something that's a provision of privacy for themselves because culturally it's different. You see, on and on, we begin to think in different ways as we understand a world of love says, I begin to say it's not all about me. Because what you find is love described to us in the ancient texts of Scripture says, love doesn't seek its own way. What? Love doesn't demand my way or the highway. Potato salad my way. Food my way. Living my way. How we worship my way. How we do church is my way. How we do everything is my way, because nothing else is as good as my way. But love says, I don't insist on my own way. I begin to open myself up, and as I build a bridge, I need to look at the different stones I may be using to build that bridge. Because you know how essential it is? Sometimes we have to revisit our building materials. There's been a lot of faulty bridges built in our world today, built on faulty materials. So what materials are we using to build a bridge of love? 1 Corinthians 13 says, here's your first material. Love is patient. Wow. We got to be patient with one another. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. Wow. Those are some big stones to building a bridge of connection with one another. Love is not proud. It doesn't dishonor others. It's not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered. What? Love is not easily angered. It's not easily upset, disturbed, or irritated. No, because it's love. It doesn't allow all those things of ego to allow that irritation to take place within us. You see, love is not easily upset. Nor does love keep records of wrongdoings. Love does not delight in someone's failure or wrong choices. Saw you. You deserve it now. No. That's not love. Love always protects. I love this. Love always trusts. Love always hopes. Love always perseveres. Do we understand the word is always, 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 always? And that's the stone we use to build a bridge. It's the stone of always. We're always loving. We're always caring. We're always patient. We're always kind. We're always understanding. We're always putting aside self-interest. We're always opening up our lives to the good and that we may see in others in unique ways. The interesting thing is love, truly lived out, will always connect us. It will never fail to connect us. Love will always build this bridge within us. It will always be there, for in a world that seeks to build up walls and barriers that are based on self-interest, that wants to create all this divisiveness within our world, it's love that connects. It's love that sews us together like a thread, weaving us together and pulling us together in this wonderful quilt of comfort for one another. That's what love does. The beautiful thing about it is, when we truly love, we are transcending this individuality that separates us. This individuality sees the world from our one-ways perspective. It overcomes this isolation and loneliness. You know, we have moved through a pandemic, which has created a lot of isolation. You know, you were told, stay home. You were told, don't interact. You were told, don't go into community. You were told, don't be around others. You were told, and this way, taught to live separate and be removed, to be alone in so many cases. And this isolation impacted us in more ways than we can really imagine. People are not gathering in community like they used to because they've lived out a realm of isolation. And in this electronically based age, with all these wonderful computers and cell phones, where we've got all these billions of people being connected together through the internet and social media, and our social media friends joining us each Sunday through our program on Facebook, joining us in services of Sunday Light, but something's missing. There's a sense of loneliness in the midst of this. Because what's happening here is that cell phone devices that connect people, but they really have these unexpected consequences of decreasing the desire to socially connect with people. Do you know that? They're telling us more and more our society is moving away. We don't call one another. We text one another. We don't even hear each other's voices anymore. People say, I don't even listen to voicemail anymore. Just send me a text. Send me an email. Suddenly we're losing more and more of that energy of connection in our world. We're creating more of a world of isolation, more of a world of separation. People are texting versus talking. People are on their cell phones at dinner. We were at dinner in San Diego, and we looked across the room, and here was this young couple so in love. It seemed to be. They sat down to dinner, and each one picked up their cell phone, and they were just cell phone texting, I don't know who or what, as a couple enjoying their phones and not one another. It wasn't even their dinner conversation as we observed them. It must have been maybe they texted, what will you be having for dinner? I don't know, what are you having? You know, I'm looking at this menu item. It didn't seem like there was any conversation between them at two at all. You see, the world is now creating more and more of a sense of this separation. But this love that we share is an energy that must be felt and personally experienced. You know, I can talk about love. I can tell you about love. But it's a whole different ballgame when you experience being loved. When you've been loved, touched by love, experienced it firsthand within your heart and your life. You know, here we are in this world of diversity that we're called then to be in this experience with one another. The ancient scriptures, again, offering us incredible advice that's even so pertinent, maybe even more now today than ever before. It says, forsake not the assembling of yourself. Forsake not coming together in community. Don't forget to come together with others. Don't forget to be there in the presence of other people. Why? Because there is a sense of energy that is coming around you. There's a wonderful energy field that's flowing around each and every one of you that we're interacting with personally. We're feeling the vibrations of love and the expressions that are coming in more tangible ways than we could ever imagine, that are radiating from each and every being, each and every person. And we miss that when we're just watching on Facebook. And we are trying to send as much love as we can to our Facebook viewers. But you're missing the personal experience. You're missing how it may feel. Do you ever watch a video of somebody jumping in the swimming pool and you want to be refreshed by it? But oh, when you personally jump in the swimming pool and feel the cool water, big difference. You can watch all the videos and think, I'd like to be cooled off by watching that video again. Let me watch it again and again. It's someone else jumping in a video and into the cool, but I'm not feeling it. But when you're by the pool and you dip that toe into the cool water, when you drench your body in by jumping in, submersing yourself, you're feeling it, a firsthand experience. That's what we're called to do in love, to be in that firsthand experience with one another, to share it in this kind of depth. That's why every single Sunday we welcome one another with these words. We welcome everyone in unity. We might as well say we welcome everyone in love. We welcome everyone in understanding that we are not united in harmony. We are united in oneness. We're saying we are united so that we don't judge one another. We don't care what you did Saturday night. No, we don't care what you did Saturday night. We don't care what you've been doing. We're not here in judgment whatsoever. We're not all about that. We don't care what your past may be. We don't care anything about that outside of the experience of right here and now and the opportunity to love you and to build that bridge of connection with you. That's what we care about. And that's why we say it every Sunday in the welcoming with one another. For Ephesians chapter 4, verses 1 through 3 says, I therefore beseech you, request you, and charge you, and encourage you to walk worthily of the calling that you've been called by giving diligence to keep the unity, keep the oneness, keep the experience of feeling community. Keep the feeling of the Spirit of God working in us in a bond that unites us of great peace. How essential that is for our journey. For we often sing, we are one in the Spirit. We sing it over and over because we understand there's no separate self. There is nothing that is separating us in any way, but we may look at the world's labels and decisions and say, well, you're different. You're tall, I'm short. You're large, I'm small. You're blonde, I'm brown. You're this, you're that. You're gay, you're straight. You're this. And we look at all these things that we want to say that may divide us. But yet the core is we understand we are truly one. And we have so much love to give. Do you realize? You know what it is like when you haven't released last night's dinner, last week's dinner? Oh, my Lord, a few days go by, you haven't released. And it's something we may call constipation. We don't like to talk a lot about. Yet I want to talk about love's constipation in the journey of our life. That when we haven't been fully sharing love to the fullest, releasing the abundance of love within us, there's something that constipates within the spirit and the soul. We haven't had that opportunity to love, to hug, to hold, to shake hands, to greet, to compliment one another, to uplift one another, to edify one another in the presence, and to be there to say, I care for you, and I'm here for you, and I'm about you because I love you. How important that is. When we understand that, that's essential. How about this? Imagine for a moment you're very hungry. Okay, some of you, that's pretty easy right now. You're imagining, yes, I'm ready for lunch. I'm very, very hungry. So imagine that, and you have $5 bill to your name. That's all you've got. Just $5. And you've laid it out on the kitchen table. And you're going to go to the store, and you're going to get some food. $5. Now you go to your bedroom, and you're going to put your shoes on. You're getting ready to go to the store. And while you're there, someone sneaks into your house and takes your $5. And you're like, what? Oh my, wouldn't you be angry? I would suspect you would be. Dagnabbit, that's all I had to my name. You took my $5. Now what am I going to do? I'm really angry. And what would you do? You'd run after that thief, wouldn't you? You'd call the police. You'd be outraged. You'd be saying, how could they take my last $5? I am furious. Right? Now let's relook at that again. This time, let's say, yes, you're still hungry. And you have $5. And it's lying on your kitchen counter, and you're going to go to the store and get something to eat because you're hungry. And you go to the bedroom to put your shoes on. And while you're there, someone sneaks in and steals your $5. But this time, you remember, I have $5 million. That's right. I have $5 million tucked away in a dresser. Wow. So how angry are you now? They took 5. You've got 5 million. Are you angry? Not so much anymore, because in fact you might have the compassion for the poor person. Oh, he needed that $5. Oh my, you might even say, I don't know why. I don't understand their need to steal, but I feel a heart of compassion that they needed that money. You might now think, well, they're pretty desperate. I must really want to reach out to this desperate person. I wish I would have known. I could have helped them. I could have given them more than $5. If I'd known that's what their case was, I could have given them much, much more because I have plenty. You see, nothing really changed in that experience. The thing that made angry in the first situation is the same thing that happened in the second situation, right? The only difference is that you realize you have an abundance of something already. You see, this little scenario has very little to do with money. It's really all about a parable about our own lives. The fact that we have lots of love. You may think someone has broken your heart, someone has stolen something from you. You may think that's all the love you have, and then you're angry and frustrated because of what someone has done to you, how they've crossed your path, they've hurt you, or what they've done. But then, oh, wait a minute. I've got $5 million worth of love. I got an abundance of love to share. Oh, I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm not hurt. I'm not wounded. I'm not irritated. Would they've needed more love? Oh, if I'd only known, I would have loved them more. Oh, what they thought their intention was to hurt me. Oh, hurting people want to hurt others. They're probably just hurting. Had I known, I would have loved them more. So you see, in the journey of our life, we have lots to give, and it's all about our awareness to say, there's a lot of love. I could build many bridges. I could build big bridges. I could build San Francisco Golden Gate style bridges. I could build Sydney, Australia style arching bridges that are monuments. I could build a 7-mile bridge that connects all the islands to Key West from the Florida coast. You see, I could build those kind of bridges because I have love. I have so much love to give. So today I'm inviting you to join in building symbolically a rainbow bridge of love. Making a renewed commitment to love one another in such a way that you say, I've got so much to give, I need to start giving it now. I'm going to hug people. I'm going to love people. I'm going to say nice things to people. I'm going to lift people up. I'm going to encourage people. I'm going to let people know I care about you. I'm interested in you. I want to see your highest and best unfold for you. You see, as we do this, we're going to come forward grabbing one of these balloons that are holding on to the ceiling tiles. Pull it down. Come forward and tie it on this bridge, making your commitment. I too am committed to sharing love. In the spirit of oneness and all the diversity of all its colors, we are awakening this renewed commitment that says, I understand no matter how diverse this world is, I got lots of love to give. I understand how unique the pathways are of one another, and I don't understand them, but that's okay, because I've got so much love to give. And that we are now building this bridge that conveys this message that we are called to live, love, and to learn in the spirit of loving constantly, awakening to our oneness. For we know when we have love, we have everything. Without love, we are nothing. But the bridge of love is that which binds and unites our world together. Amen. We invite our musicians to come at this time as we sing this simple chorus, Love Can Build a Bridge. And I'm inviting you to step forward. Reach up and pull one of those balloons down and come forward and tie it on this string here, creating your own commitment in a tangible way to be a bridge builder of love in this world today. As you encounter uniqueness, as you encounter those who are different than you, as you encounter a world of special individuality, we're all one because this bridge has united us.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time to time? Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? 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 Don't you think it's time?
What a beautiful bridge of rainbow color. This is who we are. This is how we live. This is our purpose. We are the bridge builders, called to be those who are uniting the world in a true understanding that we are one. Amen. We have the opportunity to share in giving and celebrating the very love of God and its abundance within our hearts and our lives. We invite you to share in this moment as our ushers come forward to offer the opportunity of giving. Wonderful. Bridge over troubled waters. That's what that love is all about. Amen. As we go in God's peace, we go in that wonderful awareness that peace unfolds within us. Love will create peace. Love is at peace. Love is flowing in us, and peace is all around us. Let's join together in this closing proclamation. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as my center, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me. Let's pray together. Divine presence that flows in and through us, we acknowledge the power of love that is in that presence. That love is who we are, for God is love and we are of God. And love is our very essence. Today, we renew this commitment within our hearts to love the diversity of the world, to love the uniqueness, to love the individuality, but to love it in the knowing, that we are all one. That there is nothing separating us, and no one be isolated, and no one need feel lonely. So today, we want to share that bridge and build it bigger and stronger, higher and broader, to encompass even more in the power of the message of love that radiates from our lives. That we are called to love and to live in that love and to share that love, to demonstrate that love, and to know that it is unlimited. An abundance of love is within us. And so with this great gratitude for what we anticipate as we become lovers of the world, as we become those who are loving others within this world, as we become those who are loving all of humanity and all of humanity's creation and all of the world's creation and all of the universe's creation, and celebrating it's all one and we're one with it and we love it. And together we release this as we say, and so it is. So take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins in me. Thank you so much for joining us via Facebook and our social media programs. We're delighted that you were with us today at City of Light. We hope that you feel the love that is radiating from our hearts towards you. If you're in the Atlanta area, we encourage you to come on down and experience love firsthand. That's right. Jump in the pool of love versus watching the love from afar. Get in that and experience it firsthand as we share the love of God here in a dynamic way at City of Light. For those who've gathered here, we go now in God's wonderful peace to a time of fellowship and sharing love with one another. God bless you. Go in God's peace.